As an undergrad student, to be honest, had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was only interested in getting a job that was going to pay a lot of money upon graduation, which is why I chose business and why I wanted to get a commerce degree. And so I focused on building connections, being involved in student clubs, things that would make me marketable when I graduated. And when I graduated, I got a job with Kraft Foods, and it was the top paying job for my graduating class at the time. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity. And I took that job and quickly realized that not knowing what I wanted to do had led me down the wrong path, and I was in a job that I wasn't happy in. So I decided to go back to school, and I did an MBA, during which time it certainly piqued my interest a lot more. And I had one particular professor that really motivated me, and I found her to be really interesting, and she had 4 small children, and I really clicked with her. And she's actually the one that encouraged me to go back and do a Ph.D. So I would say what type of student I was, it really varied according to the time in my life. So as an undergrad, I was just focused on finding the right job. In my MBA studies, I was actually interested in learning and still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then by the time I got to a PhD, I was definitely a very dedicated student and had really found what I wanted to do in life. I love making an impact on my students' lives, both personally and academically. And I feel fortunate that I feel like I can build a pretty good connection with them. My students tend to follow up with me years after they graduate. I live on a family farm, and it's a 100-acre farm about 45 minutes away from Guelph. I did my PhD at the University of Toronto at the Rotman School of Management, and I knew that we had just built a house on the farm and I didn't want to move, so I knew that I wanted to be somewhere in southwestern Ontario. So when Guelph had an opening, I applied and was very impressed with them right from the start. I was actually 7.5 months pregnant with twins when they hired me, and I just thought the entire culture, the supportive culture, the commitment that they showed was really impressive. And from the day that I got here, I have been so impressed with the culture of Guelph. As the faculty advisor for our major, I quite often got told by students that it is the friendliest university, and it is the friendliest university. From my experience with lower wage workers, when I came to Guelph and saw that there was the opportunities with OMAFRA, I explored looking at what I would call disadvantaged workers in rural areas. So workers that don't have opportunities for transportation to get to work, don't have opportunities for advancement because there's not a lot of jobs in those areas. And my research just kind of focused then more on rural areas and not just lower wage workers. But my other research interest, because I came from a farm background, is to look at human resource employment issues in the agri-food sector, because there's a huge opportunity to do a lot of work and research, and my SSHRC-funded research looks at employment issues specifically in the agri-food sector. So attracting, selecting, retaining the right people for the right job in that industry. One of the pillars of CME, of the College of Management and Economics, is to do research that counts. And so it's certainly, and something that I think is really unique to Guelph, I haven't seen it as much at other universities, is this commitment to actually making a difference to multiple stakeholders. So not just, obviously publishing in the top journals is important, but also doing research that really makes a difference. And there's no doubt in my mind that the research that I'm doing makes a difference in the lives of the people that I'm doing the research with. So the younger workers in rural Ontario, as part of this research study, we see them for an hour to do an interview, a survey with them, and then the second hour is actually spent on career training of some kind. So we've done that 2 years in a row, and the feedback we've gotten from the participants has been unbelievable, that it's made a difference in them actually finding a job, finding the right job, knowing how to apply to those jobs. So there's no doubt in my mind that it's having a positive impact, and it's something that guides my research into a certain direction, and that is to involve multiple stakeholders. So what advice would I give students? I guess my undergrad students, I tell them to get to know your professors, because I didn't do that as an undergrad. I waited until my master's to do that, and I wished I had of, because I think not only can they can open doors for you, they can help you to build connections, but we also have a lot of advice to give students that you can't give in a classroom, but you can give in your office one-on-one. Encourage my students, come by and see me, and start to build relationships with your professors, because I think that that's really really important. And the second thing is to keep your options open and look for opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise know exist. So when I never dreamed that I would be at the University of Guelph researching issues in the farming industry. I never knew that that would be the career path that I took, but it's absolutely the right thing for me. I love my job. I love the students here, the culture. I love my research, and I just say to keep your eyes open to potential opportunities that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise.